All right, folks. How are we? Happy Tuesday. I This is one of those days where I'm not starting out like Kurt. I'm starting out like something I can't. I don't even know. So I thought this would be a good time to kind of share with you um, some of the things I do because you know what? It's like I see Kim Coleman right now. Kim Coleman's launching some new initiative. Looks like she's doing some coaching. I do some coaching, and what I find interesting is like when we call it out, it feels like it's new, right? Like, oh, you're a coach now? Like no, I've been coaching people for 20 stinking years. Kim has been laying wisdom on people forever. Like for as long as I've known Kim, she's been incredibly brilliant in every room, every space. And so it's those types of things, right? It's like, well, when we call it out, now it's special. Um, I am immersed in a lot of projects right now. I'm one dude. I'm running a lot of things. I got a lot of projects. Now, something weird happened to me yesterday. Sometime yesterday, my brain thought it was Tuesday. I don't know why. Yesterday was Monday, but sometime yesterday, my brain thought it was Tuesday. In fact, Jonathan Denwood called me and he wanted to go over some meeting I'm supposed to have with somebody on Wednesday, and then said he wanted to get together, tomorrow for coffee to talk about it at 5 o'clock. And I said, well, why would we meet then? I'm meeting with this guy at 10 o'clock. And he obviously was confused. I was confused. I was aggravated. He probably didn't understand what the heck I was talking about because in my mind, it was already Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Duh. Why would we meet about this after the meeting when I got to have the meeting in the morning? Right. And so when these types of things happen, it throws everything off. It throws everything off. And so I know that there's people out there that just go from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, right? Like they're just very like, oh, I get there when I get there. But there's people that need to be motivated. There's people that need to have a plan. There's people that need to have a security in what the now is. Okay. Um, I got a little bit of ADHD. And if you've listened to me for any length of time, sometimes my brain will fire off and I'll say something totally unrelated to what we're talking about. Uh, Today, I wanted to share with you because I've been really vocal, really verbal about how I think journaling has kind of saved me, journaling and planning. And so, let me show you what I got here. Right. Let's add this to the scene. And quite honestly, let's take down the overlay. You guys don't need that. Uh, so here I am in my remarkable tablet. Now, first things first. Today, automatically connected to my tablet was a meeting that I had scheduled with the Marine Retailers Association. That was last week's meeting. We ended that session last week, and for some reason, my automation carried that into this week. So that appointment's not even there. And so I went ahead and took a look at my emails and cleared all my spam out early this morning, right? So this was actually in this time space, okay? And then I got to think to myself, well, what else is going on today? Well, I'm going to meet with George and Dan, George and Dan, and Steve. I'm going to meet with George, Dan, and Steve, and that's going to be at 2 o'clock. And then at 4:30, I am going to meet with Jonathan, as I just said, right? So I have. You're probably already confused because you're looking at this and you're saying, "Hey, over here." Right? So let's draw an arrow here. Over here, that looks like it was automatically populated by some kind of calendar tool. And now I'm like writing things in. How come some things are automatic and some things aren't? When you're in business, when you're an entrepreneur like myself, I've got multiple calendars. See, that was part of the problem before I got my remarkable tablet, right? Some stuff is in a Gmail calendar. Like sometimes I am a subcontractor in someone else's TidyCal or Calendly or something, right? So a client books something, boom, it's in their Calendly, calendar, whatever, and then it syncs to my Gmail or it syncs to my Apple Calendar, or it syncs to, right? And so there's these different things, and sometimes the syncs work, sometimes they don't. A lot of things break. I have had a lot of problems with Zoom. Zoom sometimes works great. Other times I see a meeting in my Zoom window that's not on my calendar. So when I come in and I check my office in the morning, I'm typically going to go ahead and say, oh, well, that went away, didn't it? I pulled up my Zoom window and then the other thing went away. It's all right. I pull up my Zoom window. I go, well, do I have any surprise meetings today? Okay, that I know for some people, you're going to say, well, Kurt, you're an IT guy. Fix that. Fix that. I chose to do this instead. Okay, so what I do in the morning to start my day, and me and Toby Crines talked about this on the Agency Action Show. I think just last week or the week before. Uh, I have quiet time in the morning, typically with my wife. So today we read or are reading Samuel chapter 1. Okay? So Samuel 1 chapter 1. Maybe I need to be more specific because I have people watching me, right? So um so Heidi and I spend our time reading some scripture, typically a chapter, and then we read a psalm or two. Evens us out. We have a quick discussion, a cup of coffee. This is a time for us as husband and wife to just kind of slow things down. And I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of need that. I need sometimes when I get up, my brain is going, and sometimes I need to slow down. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you weak, right? When you recognize it and act on it, that's the opposite of weakness. Okay, so I just want to be clear. I'm not diving into a bottle full of pills. I'm not, trying to regulate myself with other things. I'm recognizing, okay? My brain, it needs to slow down sometimes. I need to have a moment of peace. And so the morning is what works best for me in this space. So my wife and I, like I said, read a little scripture, pray a little together, and try. We're putting in some effort in because we are not the same. My wife and I are not the same, and so this is our moment to kind of come together and have a similar thought, a similar message. At least try to understand how each other interprets things. Um, Perfect example. We just read the book of Ruth, and if you know the story of Ruth, Ruth is a younger Moabite woman, and she stays with her mother-in-law after the mother-in-law's husband dies, and her sister-in-law's husbands both die when they're in Moab. And one of the sisters runs off to go back to her family and her religion and her stuff. Okay. Ruth says, no, I'm not going to go back to my old family. I'm going to stay with you. Like, you're my mother-in-law. You are my mother. You are my family. I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to go back to your land and we're going to figure this out. And when they get back to Bethlehem, she is redeemed by a kinsman redeemer, which means you need to understand the culture of the day and how that stuff really works. But somebody else in the family can basically adopt and marry a widow, right? And what that means is you're going to provide for that person. You might get the benefit of their land or their belongings, but you bring them into your family and now you take care of them, right? You can procreate with them, which is quite honestly the goal, right? But you can procreate with them and build a family life together. And so that's what happens to Ruth. Ruth meets an older gentleman. He owns a farm. She's working on that farm. She's not working. She's like begging and scraping the remains off the farm, but he helps her out. And I don't know why I'm telling the story, the long version. So the short version is this. I say to my wife, she goes, "What do you think about that?" And this is basically Ruth. Ruth goes to the farm. She's picking up behind the staff people, and Boaz says, "Who's that? Who's that?" And hey, leave her alone. Make sure nothing happens to her. Protect her. She can work with the rest of the girls, for the rest of the week. Whatever. Uh, and my wife's like, "Oh, he's such a kind gentleman," and I'm like, "How hot is Ruth? Ruth must be hot." And that's the male side of me, right? The male side of me is like, this guy supposedly doesn't even know who she is yet, and is like, she's hot, leave her alone. I'm going to flirt with her. I'm just saying, right? So anyway, they end up, of course, getting married, hooking up, and end up in that line. They become parents, and then boom, boom, boom. 2-3 generations later, we got Jesus, right? So that's why the Book of Ruth is in the Bible. Anyway, we read that and we have those discussions, and then we see, and like I said, it kind of puts me on an even keel. Then, after that quiet time, after prayer, after quiet time, while my brain is settled, I come in here and I open up this remarkable tablet and I start looking at things and I go, okay, so and today I'm going to do things a little bit different. Obviously, I don't do it like this all the time. I'm going to break out my fountain pen. I'm going to make it wide. Let's close that. So now it's going to write really big. Okay, so like this, that was an appointment, right? This is an appointment. This is an appointment, and so that tells me what's on my day. Now, other business people are going to be like, dude, you had 3 appointments for the day? Like, I have 7, I have 9, I got to fit every. I don't care what you do. I'm running an entire agency here. So I've got to be able to do the work, project manage, check in with contractors, all those things. So if I go ahead and I get rid of these circles and you start to see what I'm working with here. So I took care of email and spam pretty early in the day. Now my goal is to ignore the email now until 2 or 3 o'clock. Just being honest, I don't need to keep looking at an email screen and like auditing things as they come in. I don't want to do that. Okay. I've got a new sample server over at xCloud, and I put a sample site over there and it didn't work. And so one of the first things I want to do is I want to go in and I want to audit this xCloud experiment, because let's just be honest, it's not doing what I thought it was going to do. All right. The next thing that I have on my list is, and this is going to be weird, but if I don't write this down, I'm not going to do it. Right. So I have the Pedal Academy. And again, I don't usually write with such a big pen in my calendar like this, but I'm doing it for your sake. Okay. So I have the Pedal Academy. I have the Power Sport Academy, which I just call PSA sometimes. All right. So I have the Power Sport Academy, and I honestly have the WP Agency Academy. So here's what I'm going to do today, because today's one of those days that I don't have a lot of appointments between 10 and 2. Okay. I don't have a lot of appointments between 10 and 2. That's 4 hours. Okay. So let's be realistic here. That's 4 hours. Okay. I'm going to focus on promoting each of those 3 projects this morning. So I've got some video tools that I can use. I've got some images, obviously. I've got some content, and I've got access to a new tool that I've been really kind of negligent in using. It is a platform that does the short videos, but it does a lot, does social media posts, it does all kinds of things. And I'm supposed to review it. They gave me access to it. They want me to review it, and that becomes part of the content for Mañana No Mas. So I'm going to use that new tool today. I'm going to spend 3.5 hours or so figuring out the new tool and building content for those 3 things, and then loading the content into the calendar in Content 360, which is my social media posting platform. Okay. So am I doing client work? No, I got to support our own projects too. Right. Does it make sense that I help other people launch e-learning projects if I myself don't have successful e-learning projects? Like, I want people, when they come to Mañana No Mas, to be like, what's your experience? How have you found success? Why should we listen to you? This is why. This is why you should, because I have these things. The meeting that we're having at 2 o'clock, George, Dan, and Steve, we're actually meeting about e-learning marketing today. We're going to talk about lead magnets, what kind of content generates a lead magnet, how to flow the lead magnet with users, and how to connect that to your CRM tool. Like, we're going to spend an hour talking about that stuff today. So that's what that is about, right? So if I wanted to, I would say, let's draw that arrow here so we know that that's going to be an hour. And then that's going to give me an hour and a half before I got to meet with Jonathan. And here's where things maybe take a different turn. I've got a project I'm working on that is called Prism. Okay, you guys haven't seen Prism yet because I haven't released it yet, but I'm working on a project for Prism, and for this one, we are going to start adding the customer's logo and their colors. I don't know what I was thinking. Colors into their website. We've already built a sample website with placeholders and stuff like that, but they've got specific colors. So we're going to go into their global styles and we're going to change those, the colors that are in the sample site. We're going to change that to their global colors, right? So we're going to add their logo, their global colors. Is that going to take an hour and a half? No, it's not going to take an hour and a half, but I want to give myself that time, right? I also want to review the rest of their project and the feedback from the customer, because I want to say, okay, was there anything else besides that in this that did that? And then I've got to create communication and correspondence with that customer that says, hey, we've added your logo, we've changed your global colors. Here's a quick video tour. What am I doing? Here's a quick video tour of the changes of the sample website. And we're ready for the next stage. Now, the next stage for them is to start getting some course content, not course content, wrong product, not course content, e-commerce content, product content into the website. A lot of people get so focused on building the website when they're building a website that they lose focus on what is the minimal viable product I'm supposed to focus on. Like the root cause of why this website is there. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Okay. The main reason that this website's being built is to sell product. And so selling the product, getting the product into the website, right? Building the products, description of the products, right? Trying to come up with good copy for each of the products, how to sell that product, how to bundle those products together in things that make sense, right? How to create a lead magnet out of a lesser valued product. All these things. That's all part of that. And what happens is a lot of customers get focused on the look, the feel, stuff like that. And so, so I got to keep the customer on track. Now, James has a good question here. And James, it's good to see you this morning. Man, I sure talked about you on my live. I think it was my live yesterday, telling everybody how wonderful you are. James, do you use some automation for your workflow? This is going to sound weird to people. And I tell you this all the time. I use AI almost every day, but I'm also very reticent with AI. And so I recently, oh my gosh, like this week, set up an automation that scans one of my email accounts, just one, because I'm sampling this thing out, gives me a summary of those email accounts, looks for real emails from real people, and puts those into kind of like a summary hit list, and then automatically archives the rest of the messages. Newsletters and all that other stuff just goes right into an archive. I get a summary list of what came in, but anything that's not actionable gets automatically archived. I'm struggling with this a little bit because I don't like giving up tactile, hands-on control of these things. I'm always afraid that I'm going to miss. And it's so weird because I shouldn't even care. But I'm so afraid that it's going to archive something I need to see. I'm afraid that it's going to say something spam when it isn't. I'm afraid that like a customer from 4 years ago is going to reach out to me to need something, and I'm never going to respond to them. And they're going to think, well, Kurt's a jerk. And that's not what I want to have happen. So I still, and I can't believe I do this, I still go through my email every day and I just, select trash. I go through probably 250 spam messages a day. And I would say that is one of the most burdensome things I do. I thought about, James, now, this is interesting because I'm curious what you do here. Do you do the same thing? Or have you leveraged an AI tool to try and figure out your spam and automatically delete it? I'm always worried I'm going to miss an important message, and I shouldn't be. Like, fear of missing out is probably one of the things that holds me back from really finding success with the time I have in my day. I spend way too much time on that. I thought about doing a virtual assistant for that. I thought about putting a person in charge of it and saying, okay, you're a person. Now you're in charge of manually and tactily going in and sorting my emails and just sending me the important ones. I thought about doing that, but I still struggle with just giving up like that. It's that control thing, man. That's that control thing. I'll give you another one. I'm working on a university website right now. It's an enterprise e-learning build. It's big. It's big. I have 700 videos, or I don't know. We're going to be at 1,000 videos by the time we even get some students in here. I mean, it's just that they're creating content like crazy, and that's great. That's great. It's awesome. Usually with customers, you can't get enough content. With these cats, that's not the problem. If anything, I got to filter through some stuff and go, I don't think all this stuff needs to be in the website. But I've got all these videos, and it's like there's multiple courses, multiple lessons in each course, and each lesson has 4 videos. And this sounds very easy. Sounds like, okay, so load all the videos up to bunny.net, use Presto Player, and just start smashing these things into the lessons. The problem is this. The naming conventions, while consistent, occasionally have an extra line or a dot in the name. It's something that the client did putting the thing together. So I have this fear, like, should I create an AI tool? Should I create an agent? Ooh, I'm going to use something fancy. Should I create an agent or create a skill that takes those videos and automatically places them in the Lifter LMS lessons, and then just automate that process, right? Like, hey, the customer's giving us a new batch of videos, download the batch of videos, load them up to bunny.net, hit the skill, and let the skill automatically place all the videos into the lessons. We could build that. I'm scared to death it won't work right. I'm scared to death. It's because then you have to manually go through and audit the results of all that stuff. So if I'm going to be in there anyway, auditing the results of it, I'm of the mindset that I might as well just do it. And there's a lot of things like that that happen at our level in the agency space. Just yesterday, I'm in a meeting with a client, and the client says, hey, we were thinking. Okay, that's always scary, right? Hey, we were thinking, what if we made an AI tool in our website for our students? For what? I was like, for what? What? I was like, what are you proposing? Are you proposing that you embed ChatGPT into a page in the website, and your students get there and they just have a chat window in ChatGPT, or they have their own ChatGPT? Are you saying each student should have their own Claude or ChatGPT or Perplexity in their account in the website? And they were like, well, maybe. And I'm like, okay, so maybe. What would they do with that? What is the outcome that you're seeking? So what would they do in the website that they wouldn't just do in another window, copy and paste somewhere? And what would they build in your website attached to AI that makes it easier for them or serves them better to be there? Remember, the role of e-learning, the role of membership websites, the role of these dynamic sites that I build is to reduce the friction to the student or the member. So am I reducing the friction if I say, here's an AI tool on our website, you can go ahead and use that? To what end? What are they doing with it? I mean, if I put ChatGPT in there and 3 months later Claude's the rave, or 3 months later Gemini's the rave, or 3 months later Perplexity bubbles to the top, how have I served the customer? Because now I've given them a second-rate AI tool in the website. Or do you want to update that every time someone else is the top slot? I mean, it was 18 months ago that Grok was at the top, right? So would we want to embed Grok? And then whose AI credits are we using? Are you supporting this as part of the membership fee? Is the customer expected to put their own API in, which means now we have to give them rudimentary training on how to create their own account with an API to put into the MCP? It goes deep. When customers ask these questions, it's incumbent upon us as agency owners to say, okay, what's the end goal here? What are we trying to accomplish? And I'm finding in the AI space, we're saying we want AI for our customers, and we're acting like our customers need it. Our customers are going to demand this. We have to have this. But when you ask simple questions like why, what's the end game? What do you want to do with this thing? You realize there's no pressure. We don't need any of this stuff. Simple. What we need is simple. We need to reduce the friction for users so they're not jumping through all kinds of hoops to get to whatever it is they're trying to find in your website. If you've got valuable information for them, just give them the valuable information, right? That's what they want. Just give them the valuable information. Don't add a bunch of shiny baubles and confuse everybody. And it was the confusion of the day that I started this whole talk with. Remember, I talked about my ADD earlier, right? So when I woke up this morning, I thought it was Wednesday. That really messed me up because Wednesday's got a whole different set of appointments and a whole different set of expectations and a whole different setup of obligations. Today is very flexible. Today, I had a lot of free space in there, right? I've got the work to do with xCloud, and then I've got those 3 projects I'm going to build some content for, and then I'm going to promote that stuff out. Now, when you have a lot of irons in the fire, like I do, when you have a lot of verticals, I see it all as related. I see it all as I'm a digital agency. Mañana no más. Mañana no más is a digital agency. As a digital agency, we have some products. Those products are the PowerSport Academy, the Pedal Academy, the Agency Action Team, the WP Agency Academy, the Sunflower Launch. Those 5 things are all products from Mañana No Mas. Those are all e-learning and membership websites. LivingHutch.com is another one. Hutch Composites, one of the sites we sponsor for a local nonprofit. And so we have that. And then we've got local customers. And so local customers I want to treat at a certain level. And then I've got, these national enterprise accounts. And those are different. But that's all agency stuff. It's all agency stuff. Okay? Some people don't see it that way. Some people, like when I start talking about the Pedal Academy and riding that thing all over the place, and I get passionate about my mountain biking, they see it as a distraction from agency work and doing the mountain biking thing. That's my passion. I love doing it. But if I'm taking that passion and I'm creating an e-learning product that is part of the portfolio for Mañana No Mas, I really don't think I'm that far off the mark. People from the outside looking in might think that I'm off the mark. And that's why, I can take 4 hours today and I can take a look at these 3 projects that have bubbled to the top of my needs list, right? The PowerSport Academy, the Pedal Academy, and WP Agency Academy. Those 3 have bubbled to the top as far as needs for attention. Those 3 projects need some attention. And so over the next week or 2, you're going to see a lot of content about the WP Agency WP Agency Academy, the Action Leadership Team, and the PowerSport Academy and the Pedal Academy. You're going to see these things bubble up to the top and lots of content. Hey, babe. My wife's home, so I'm going to hang up. I'm going to let you guys go. It's been fun. James, always good to see you. I love that you come in and you say hi. I hope things are going well for you. We should jump over to Post Status and have a conversation over there. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourselves an absolutely wonderful Tuesday, because it is Tuesday. I told you. I woke up. I thought it was Wednesday. I'm a mess. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.